Welcome to Create, Quilt and Make with Kate. I thought I'd sit out in the garden just for a little while today. It's actually winter in Sydney, but you'd never guess. It is a little bit cool in the shade, but it's going to be about 18 degrees today. Today I'm continuing the progress on my stained glass quilt, and I'm working on the embroidery. The embroidery actually joins the layers together, and because the quilt is made of denim, it's actually quite heavy. And I'm putting a fleece layer on the inside, or the underneath, but I've decided not to put any batting in it. If I put batting, it's going to be way too heavy and I probably won't be able to put it in my washing machine. So I'm just making the two layers, and it's quite thick and quite comfortable. And when I started the embroidery or the quilting on it, I thought I'll just do a small bit here, but once I had started, then I realized that I had to continue it across the rest of the quilt, and it's taking a little longer than I had planned. But I don't mind. It's a bit of a work in progress and something that I can potter along with, and I'm quite determined to finish things generally, so it will be done eventually, but it's taking a lot longer than I planned. So all of the piecing has been done, and there's a video on my channel already that shows the mathematics behind the construction of it. So if you're interested, then you can go and have a look at that video, and you'll understand how to make this. And I've started in the center, and so I'm working out, and that means that I'm not going to end up with bubbles, and I'm just sort of working out randomly. So each square that I work on next is closer to the edge than the others, and I'm not jumping, and that means that I won't have any bubbles on it as well. So I'm just going to sit here and do a bit of stitching. I'm off to work today, so I have about half an hour. When I start my quilting, I do a quilter's knot. So basically it's just a knot in the end, and then I'm going to pop it in, and I'm going to do this square here and then this one. So let me get my hand underneath, and I'm just going to go in maybe there. Don't know what I'm going to quilt. What am I going to do? I might do some double stitches or something wiggly. I need some inspiration. What else have I got? I might do some little flowers. Okay, little flowers it is. So that determines where I come up. So this quilt is made from denim from clothing that has been discarded in my family, and for whatever reason, well, jeans wear out, I guess, or get too small with growing children. And there's a few different colours. There's pale blues, there's dark blues, indigo blues, there's black, and there's one fabric that's it is a denim, a lightweight denim, which has a paisley and star motif on it. That was from my mum in her quilter stash, so I've used a bit of that in my quilt as well. The flowers are quite simple. You start in the middle to do each petal, and I'm at an odd angle here, but let me just turn it around a little. So from the center, with the thread coming out in the center already, I'm just going to move out towards the edge of the petal and then wrap the tail of the thread around and then pull it through. And that makes a little loop. You don't pull it too tight. And then you have to fasten it by going in at the end. I'm going to come up at the center again. And this one I'm actually going to do one extra petal. So again, I'm going to start with the tail in the center. I'm going to come up this way, wrap the tail end around, pull it not too hard. If you pull it too hard, your petals go flat. And then put it in again. I need to turn my quilt so I can get the right angle. And then come up again in the center. And then on top I'm going to do it another French knot. Just make sure my petal's in place. Yep. So French knot. Going to 1, 2, 3 times around the needle. go back in to the center. I'm going to pull the little tail so that the knot sits nicely, and then pull the needle all the way through. It's a bit hard with the big blanket. Anyway, so we've got 2. I'm going to do one more little flower over there. So again, sorry, I've got to get my hands in underneath. So with my hands in underneath, I'm putting the needle up through the layers, checking it's still threaded. And I'm just going to run it between the layers over to where I want the center of my next flower to be. And then I can bring it out. My tail's getting a little bit short now. Might be enough, we'll see. So starting there, stitching out to the edge of one of the petals, tail around, catching it, back up in the center, stitching out again. They're fairly forgiving, they're not a hard embroidery technique. It's best if you get the 2 middle stitches close to each other. When they're further apart, I don't think they look as good, although you could design a different flower that did. But when they're close together in the middle, it's good. Little petal, secure it, back into the center. I'm going to come out this way this time. I think after this one I'll have to start some more thread. So I'm going to come to here, thread around, and go that way because it'll be nicer. I'm going to go back in, and then this time I'm actually going to turn my quilt over once I pull it through. I'll just check my petal's good. My petal's good. Carefully I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm just going to stitch it on the back and bury my thread. So this quilt, some embroidery in quilts you can hide the tails in the back, but because I'm stitching through the polar fleece on the back here, my stitching on the rear is always going to be visible, and because I'm just going to use it at home to keep me warm in my office or when I'm watching TV, I don't mind so much. So that stitch there is through the fleece but not through the denim, and then I'm going to cut it off a little bit short so it'll suck back. So here I go, cut it in, cut it and pull it, and it disappears back in. You can see on the back, you can see some of my stitching, but in this case I don't mind that. Got a bit of a cat hair on it too. So for this quilt I'm using the DMC Cotton Pearl. It's a size 8, and I'm using 4 colours. I'm using a black, a dark blue, a light blue and a white, and I'm just sort of toning them in with the sections that I'm stitching on. Some of them are a little bit more dominant over the denim than the others, but they sort of tone in and disappear a bit. And I'm doing all sorts of shapes. You can see I've got wiggly lines here, I've got diagonal lines, triangles. Here I've picked out some of the design. I've got black, more swirls, squares. This is wiggly dotted lines. I've got little crosses. This one here outlines the edge. All sorts of different shapes. I'm going to finish this section. I'm going to do another quilter's knot. So let's put the needle on the end, round a couple of times, pinch it, pull it through, and I'm going to bury it in here. Again, I'll bury it through there, I think. I need to come up in the centre of my flower. I'm going to pop the knot. It's just there, and I'm going to pull it, and it pops in. Once it goes in, it disappears, and it provides a nice strong hold. Coming back up into the centre. Good, last petal. Catch it back into the centre. French knot. So round 3 times. Drop it in. Pull the tail. Hold it and pull it through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the tail underneath, the thread from here into this square. So I'm going to run it between the layers underneath and come up in here. And I think I will just do, what shape am I going to do on this one? I think I might just do a little cross in there. I might do a straight on cross. So I'm just going to run it through. Pop up where I want my cross to be. And I'm going to do it off center. Oops. So that's all I'm going to do on that one. Then again I'm going to turn it over and finish off my stitch. And then I'm just going to bury it in the fleece. And again, pull it a little bit short so when I cut it, it pops back inside. So there you go. That's some work on my stained glass quilt. And we are making progress, but I think we still have a long way to go. This is Create, Quilt and Make with Kate. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.